I don't think there are many of us alive who haven't, at least at one point or another, fantasized about walking into our boss's office and screaming that we quit. Now, even if your job isn't exactly a hellhole and your boss isn't evil incarnate and your fantasy exit scene is a lot less dramatic than storming into your boss's office, middle fingers raised, you might still be wondering, when is the best time to quit? Should you do as some gurus suggest and just pull the plug on your day job so that you can move full steam ahead into your passion project, or is that really terrible advice? And if it is terrible advice, what should you do instead so that you can get your new gig off the ground, making money as quickly as possible without risking financial jeopardy in the process? Let's talk about your 7-step 9-to-5 exit plan. I'm Rachel Harrison-Sun, and I help online entrepreneurs make more money so they can live more life. If that sounds like you, go ahead and subscribe, hit the bell, that way you can be notified every time I put out one of these videos, which is every Monday. Also, if you're in the beginning stages of getting an online business off the ground and you're looking for some more help on getting started creating content and then leveraging that content into a profitable, knowledge-based online business, grab my free guide, the 4-step, no time to waste online business startup blueprint. I have linked to that down in the description below. This guide takes you through all of the steps of starting an online knowledge-based business, from idea generation all the way through to creating an offer and marketing it to your audience. Now, this is the exact 4-step framework that I used to launch my own digital course business that brought in $60K during its first 14-day launch. As romantic as it sounds, packing in your day job before you have another source of consistent revenue coming through the door isn't the right decision for most people. Now, are there exceptions? Yes, sure, but for most people, this just is simply not worth risk taking. Finding yourself suddenly without an income can make you desperate, and most people make very stupid decisions when they're in a place of desperation. You need to be making smart decisions if you're serious about building a sustainable business that's going to allow you to leave the 9-to-5 for good. Now, of course, you are going to need to take some risks, but these should be smart and calculated risks, not risks that could potentially leave you destitute or sleeping on someone else's couch for the foreseeable future. Now, first things first, you got to get your financial house in order. So first, you want to assess where you are financially right now. So you're going to determine your net worth, and you're also going to take a look at your monthly cash flow. Now, depending on your situation, this might be very scary. I remember always being absolutely terrified anytime a bank statement came in the mail, credit card statement. It just filled me with dread every time I was lifting the flap of that envelope. So, I feel the pain in that regard. But you're never going to get anywhere without becoming really deeply intimate with your finances, and this is the place to start. So determine your net worth. If you've never done it before, you just need to subtract your liabilities from your assets. So assets include cash, so checking, savings accounts, any type of investments, either registered or non-registered. So, in Canada, TFSAs, RESPs, RRSPs. If you're in the States, you've got Roth IRAs, 401ks. All of that stuff is an asset. Assets are also property that you own, like cars, real estate, any other valuables as well. Liabilities include any consumer debt you have, so credit cards, it includes mortgage and other loans. Now, you should recalculate your net worth at least once per quarter. I actually like to do this every single month just so I always know exactly where I am and see if I'm moving up or down or staying the same so that I can go ahead and change tack if I have to. Now, if your current situation is like mine was, this could be an incredibly painful moment. I remember when I first started tracking my net worth, it was minus $45,000. So that means that I had to earn $45,000 just so I could be worth absolutely zero. So that really sucked. But remember, knowledge is power and you can't change what you can't see. So this is a crucial step. Also, when you do start making progress, it's very motivating to see that number start to tick up and up and up. So you also need to determine your cash flow. This is just simply money in versus money out. So, how much do you make a month and then how much do you spend? So you are going to need these numbers for the very next step. Now, after you have a good view of your current financial situation, your next step is going to be to determine your monthly nut. So your monthly nut is basically just the total of all of your monthly expenses. So mortgage or rent, utilities, cable, streaming, cell phone, car expenses, gas, insurance, childcare, subscriptions, anything that's a fixed monthly expense. Now, all of these expenses added together, this is your monthly nut. This is the bare minimum amount that your business needs to be bringing in each month in order just to cover your basic expenses. And of course, that's on top of your business's monthly operating expenses if you have any. Now, I recommend taking your monthly nut and then tacking on an extra 20% just for spending money and, any small emergencies that might come up. So this adjusted number, your monthly nut plus the 20%, this is what you should be aiming to achieve before you walk away fully from your day job. Without this, you could be in real danger of being unable to pay for your basic needs until your business gets off the ground. Next up, start taking steps to eliminate your debt. Now, ideally, you want to erase all of your debt, not including your mortgage, while you have consistent income coming through the door. So in other words, your day job. Now, you really don't want to be in a position where you start defaulting on all of your debts after you've quit your job and you're still kind of waiting to get established out on your own. So you really want to try and get rid of those if you can. The fastest way to do this, if you've got multiple debt obligations, is to knock one debt out at a time, paying off the one with the highest interest rate first. So you're going to pay off that one with the highest interest rate first and then continue to make minimum payments on all of your other debts. Now, when you've knocked off that biggest debt, you're going to divert all the money that you're putting towards that biggest debt, and then you're going to take all of that money and put it toward your debt with the second highest interest rate. Again, you're going to keep paying minimum payments on all of the other ones until that second one, the second biggest debt, is paid off. And you're just going to keep going like that until you, one by one, knock off all of your debts. So with each debt you knock off, all that money gets diverted to the next one, and your payments end up getting bigger and bigger with each debt, and then you end up paying them off faster and faster. So this is definitely the fastest way to pay off all of your debts. Now, if you're in a situation where paying off all of your debt would literally take years, so getting it all paid off before you quit your job isn't really feasible, you can still address this in the next step by building a buffer. So a buffer is going to give you some runway so that you don't lose your shirt if something doesn't go according to plan in your business for whatever reason. So think of it like insurance, but you actually get to keep the money even if nothing ever actually goes wrong. I suggest building a buffer of at least 6 months worth of expenses, so your monthly nut times 6. And I also suggest building a business buffer as well, so aim to have at least 3 months worth of business operating expenses in the bank as well. So you don't want to dip into your personal savings if you have a few hiccups in your business, and you certainly don't want to go into any unnecessary credit card or loan debt in your business because you just didn't have enough money to cover expenses for a month or two. Having these buffers can really help if you have a business where the revenue can fluctuate dramatically from month to month. When I was starting out with KDP, my revenue would sometimes fluctuate by thousands of dollars month over month. And 6 years later, it's still pretty much the same with my digital course business now. It fluctuates quite a bit from month to month. Because of that uncertainty, I like to have 3 months of operating expenses socked away in my business savings account, and I also actually have a year's worth of living expenses socked away as well. Now that might be overkill for some, that's just how I like to do it. This goes a long way toward mitigating any uneasy feelings that you might have about just the inherent uncertainty of becoming an entrepreneur. And without having a buffer, you could be just sitting there feeling constantly stressed out about how much money you're going to be bringing in every month. And the whole idea behind having your own business and being your own boss is freedom, and it's really hard to feel free if you're just stressed out about money all the time. So having a buffer will really help in that regard. Now that you understand your financial situation, it's time to make an actual action plan to get out of that 9 to 5. So start by giving yourself a deadline. So this is your freedom day. With all of the information you gathered in the last step, you're going to create an estimate of how long it's going to take to pay off your debt, build a buffer, and get some consistent recurring revenue through the door. Keep this date in plain view as motivation for continuing when things get tough, because of course they always do. And importantly, don't worry if you have to adjust your date. It actually took me 2 years longer than my original goal to be able to leave my day job, and it sucked at the time, very disappointing, but it absolutely makes no difference to me today because I'm here now. So giving yourself a date is important. Giving yourself some leeway and not being upset if you end up needing a bit more time, that's okay too. But just get that date in there so that you've got something to work toward. Next, create a schedule and stick to it. Treat your business like a real job, because it really is, and come up with a real working schedule, including specific days and times. What you don't want to do is just try and fit it in whenever you can, because you're really not going to get anywhere doing it that way. Now, even if you just have a few hours a week, be consistent and stick to your schedule. Remember, your business is real business. You are the CEO. Think about what you might do if you had an employee who kept showing up late for work or, not even showing up for work at all. Would that be acceptable to you? Now, I know that the reason that most of us want to have our own business and be our own boss in the first place is to work when we want and where we want and how we want. But if you don't have any discipline and you can't commit to your business goals, you're never going to be able to build that business that will allow you that freedom in the first place. You got to show up for yourself on a consistent basis. Now, once you've got your schedule down and you're working on your business regularly, you're going to want to generate your monthly nut for at least 3 to 6 consecutive months. This is going to ensure that you're onto something sustainable and that at the very least, your business is making enough money to cover your basic expenses, plus a little bit of pocket change and, some wiggle room for small emergencies. Now, when you're getting close to this point, it means you are in the home stretch and you just need to be patient a little while longer. But, having this peace of mind really is so worth it. All right, now's the time. Once you've built your buffer, hopefully paid down most, if not all of your debt, and, you've been generating your monthly nut consistently for at least 3 to 6 months, the only thing left to do is take that job and shove it. Now, just a few more tips before we go. If it's possible, you might want to consider transitioning a little bit more slowly out of your job, especially if you're someone who's a little bit more sensitive to uncertainty. Once you're bringing in some money through your business, is there a way that you could reduce your hours or maybe go part-time at your day job so that you can spend even more time on your business and have that more time to get things going even faster? If that's an option for you, it's definitely worth having a conversation with your boss about what that might look like. Or, could you quit your current job and then find a low-key part-time job to fill up that earnings gap from your business while also giving yourself, again, that extra time to work on your business? Something to think about. Now, finally, if you're really serious about permanently leaving the 9 to 5, you've got to make it your number one priority outside of your health and, the basic needs of your immediate family. Try to get your family on board. See if they can offer support and flexibility in accommodating your new schedule. Don't be afraid to ask for this. They're eventually going to be on the receiving end of a really happy and fulfilled partner or parent who's running a lucrative business, so they can help you get there now. Also, you kind of got to get obsessed. When I first made the 9 to 5 escape plan a priority, it was basically the only thing that I could ever think about. I listened to podcasts, was connecting with like-minded people all the time, following those that have gone before me. And I tried to keep all negativity out of my life as well, to just keep in that positive frame of mind. And of course, know that there's going to be some trade-offs. When we're committed to one opportunity, we kind of have to shut the door on all other opportunities that come our way. Otherwise, we run the risk of spreading ourselves too thin and getting absolutely nowhere. If you're looking for some more help on getting started creating content and then leveraging that content into a profitable, knowledge-based online business, please don't forget to grab my free guide below called the 4-Step No Time to Waste Online Business Startup Blueprint. This guide is going to take you through all of the steps of starting an online knowledge-based business, all the way from idea generation, all the way through to creating an offer and marketing it to your audience, so definitely check that out. Also check out this video next to find out how I turned $100 into $1 million. Check out my free online business related Facebook group as well, Rachel Sandbox. That's also linked to down below. If you like this video, please do hit that like button, subscribe, share with anyone you think might find it useful, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching.